Hey guys, this is the second part of my series talking about the different bosses for GvE. Um, Before we jump into the actual battle, just a quick note. So I have Cleo 10, and as a result of having Cleo 10, it doesn't really matter which boss I showcase, as Cleo 10's ability essentially sucks the AP from the enemy, and that basically causes the enemy not to be able to use their own specials. And so for Cleo 10, regardless of who you're attacking, the end result is basically quite similar. In this case, this morning when I was trying to hit the bosses to try to do this video, I saw that Sentry Bot was up, so I just went ahead and started to attack him. So let's continue on. Just a quick note here for my lineup. Now, from left to right, the first four positions, it doesn't really matter where you have any of your dwellers. The only thing I would say about the far right, the one that's closest to the boss, I purposely try to put Piper there. The idea being, if there is any incidental damage that is happening to Piper, that's a good thing. I say that because Piper in your entire lineup is actually the slowest individual, and the reason why you can only do as many syncs across the team for their specials as you can. So any chance to try to boost up her AP generation is only a good thing. So that's why I always have her on the far right. The next thing I would add is that, so this is wave 25 boss 3, and in this case, normally when you enter battle, you actually have your dwellers set up, and then they have to run to the edge of the right screen, the right edge of the screen, and then once you get to the edge, then the camera pans and the screen moves, and then you basically meet up with the boss. What was discovered by a few individuals, I believe it was on Japan Discord, was that if you pause your camera at a certain point just before the screen is about to move over, the screen will move while the game is paused. And so it means you're essentially able to gain about 1 to 2 seconds extra time on the boss. This is extremely important in the case of Cleo, because Cleo's damage, or the way Cleo's special works, is that it causes the damage that the players on your team do to ramp up and up as the battle extends. And so it's really the last 10 seconds of battle where you're doing the most damage to the boss. And so if you can eke out another 1 to 2 seconds, you're able to do a lot of extra damage that you wouldn't normally be able to do. So that pause button is quite a big thing. In the case of this boss, because it's wave 25 boss 3, the screen doesn't actually, like the dwellers don't actually have to run to the edge of the right edge of the screen. The screen starts to move right away. And this happens, there's a post in Japan Discord where it talks about the different waves and which bosses will cause you to move to the, like where you're going to be forced to have to run to the edge of the screen, and then ones where it isn't. But if you're kind of just caught by surprise and the screen moves, just exit and then get back in, and then just hit the pause button right away, just like I do here. So as you can see, I hit the pause button. This was my first attempt. I just got in. I had essentially just woken up, so I didn't know what to expect. But this was my first time where I saw that the screen was moving. And I paused, but I paused actually a little bit too late. But let's just quickly go back. So I hit the pause kind of halfway through the screen moving, but I was still, as a result of doing that, able to shave off 1 second. The other thing that you notice is that in the case of Roach King, so the big roach spawns first and starts to attack the boss. And then afterwards, there are small roaches that spawn. Prior to Piper doing her second attack around the 143 mark, the maximum number of roaches that can spawn is 6. Now the difference between 5 roaches spawning between that time and 6 roaches spawning is around, at my numbers, 10 to 14 million damage. And so it's imperative that you basically carry on with battle only when 6 roaches, small roaches, have spawned. I'm just going to review this, but what you'll see is 6 roaches don't spawn, and so I redo the battle. Okay, so 1 roach, 2 roaches, 3, 4, 5, and then Piper basically goes again, so I give up. And see, so I hurriedly go back into battle, and this time I know that I pause right away. So 2 roaches, 3 roaches, 4 roaches, 5 and 6, so I'm good. Okay, the other thing to note is that at the 143 mark, if you're on Deathclaw, you don't have to worry because the AP of only 4 of the dwellers, so everyone minus RK, is ready. And you essentially initiate all of the specials of everyone minus RK. That's great. But for the other 2 bosses, Sentrybot and Mirelurk, the main thing is that Roach King's special is ready, but you actually don't want to use it. It's too soon to use it, and you actually want to purposely not use his special until the next sync wave. So what I do for the 143 mark, which is the first time the dwellers actually have their specials aligned and primed and ready to go, I ignore Roach King and I am manually hitting Cleo, Preston, Piper, and Inspector with 4 fingers. So yeah, carrying on. The thing to note after that happens is that the button that enables you to initiate the specials of the dwellers, I've taken that off and I'm holding it down. The reason why I'm holding it down is that when I need it, I then just let go of my finger, versus the majority of players where they have their finger resting above the button, and then when they see that they need to press, then they press. The reason why I'm doing it the other way, or I guess you could say backwards or inverse, is because you actually have a faster reaction time if you hold a button and then you have to let it go, versus seeing that you need to press it and then pressing it. So that's what I do. And then finally, the other thing that I should notice, that you should know, is in order to make the battle last as long as possible, so therefore in order to get the best numbers you need, you're not waiting for the you're not waiting for the AP of the dwellers to charge up and therefore cause the frame of that dweller to turn yellow. You are basically trying to wait just a split second before the frame turns yellow to then let go of your finger. The reason why I say that is because if you wait to the moment until it's yellow, you've already lost precious milliseconds. And if you take all of the sinks across the battle, the 9 waves, you're probably losing about 1 to 2 seconds. So yeah, you're trying to anticipate the AP generation rhythm of the dwellers, and you're essentially letting your finger off of the AP action button, so that it basically causes it to go. Sorry, I know that doesn't really make sense, but hopefully as you see more of the battle go through, you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, right there, it was just before Piper turned yellow that I let go of my finger. And what you guys will notice is that I kind of mess up my timing. And so this is another attempt that I have to reset. So here I messed up my timing, and so I didn't like it because Cleo was yellow for too long, so I have to redo the battle. So I hit pause right away. I gain a few seconds. I then have to time for 6 roaches. Okay, great, it's 6 roaches, so we're good. And as you notice, I basically initiated the AP of the 4 dwellers. And then that time I had my finger pressed down and I just let go. The one thing you'll know, whether you're doing well or not on the timings, is for the next sync coming up, if you're at the 105 or 106 mark. 105 is good, 106 is even better. 103 or 104 and you're kind of slow. The next wave then should be 55, 56. So yeah, I'm 55. .46 is really good. And then the next one is 33. This is where I'm a little bit slow. Yeah, for a split second, Piper's window turned yellow. Ideally, it doesn't. I'm just pausing here because at the 12 to 15 second mark in that window is when you're going to do your last group-wide sync. I say that because you do have another window to do a full sync around the 3 to 5 second mark, but you don't want to do that for everyone in your group. There are certain dwellers that have longer animation times on their special than others. And furthermore, even if you initiate the special of some of the dwellers, it doesn't immediately lead to a huge DPS increase. So what you're doing at the 3 to 5 seconds left in battle is you're only initiating the special of Inspector, Piper, and Preston. You're not doing it for Roach King or for Cleo, because if you do that, you would be sacrificing some of their damage because they would be doing the special animation, and it takes too long. So you have to manually select Piper, Preston, and Inspector. So that's what I do. So here we go, upcoming final sync. So 13 second mark. And then here's the sync across only 3 of 5 dwellers. Yeah. So in my first video, I mentioned that Cleo actually does more damage, and that's why I spec'd him for crit. But then you guys see here that Inspector is actually doing 7 million more damage than Cleo. Just remember that Inspector's set, she's wearing a enclaved WA, whereas he is only wearing a remake 10 OI. That being said, don't worry if you don't have any crit stats on your OI for remake. It's not going to be contributing that much. The huge contribution to damage is coming from Roach King